is no evidence, I wish to emphasize that these life forms from elsewhere are hostile towards us. But there is a great deal of evidence that they are concerned with our hostility.
The phenomenon of UFOs does exist, and it must be treated seriously. Mikhail Gorbachev.
One of my biggest disappointments over the last 25 years is those who lack the courage of their convictions. If 1% of the people who I've talked with, met with, or briefed had that courage, this would have all been fixed long ago. I have always told them, if you won't do it, I will. So here goes.
For all I know, we may be visited by a different extraterrestrial civilization every second Tuesday. But there's no support for this appealing idea. The extraordinary claims are not supported by extraordinary evidence.
It's always asked, where's the evidence or where's the beef on the UFO issue? In fact, we have so much evidence that Dr. J. Allen Hynek, who was in charge of Project Blue Book for the Air Force, stated that it's an embarrassment of riches. We have so much.
I'm Richard Doty. I was assigned as a special agent with the Air Force Office of Special Investigations at Kirtland Air Force Base. I was a counterintelligence officer at the base. During my time there, my first few months there, I was briefed into a special access program involving the U.S. government's investigation and contacts with extraterrestrial, the visitation of these extraterrestrials to Earth.
I can assure you that flying saucers, given that they exist, are not constructed by any power on Earth. President Harry S. Truman.
And it started out with a crash at Roswell.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection.
Roswell's almost become a joke because there's so much myth and narrative around it. But if you look at the Guy Hotel document, was a field agent sent to J. Edgar Hoover. 3 so-called flying saucers had been recovered in New Mexico. Each one was occupied by 3 bodies of human shape, but only 3 feet tall. It's become the #1 document viewed on the FBI website after we released this.
Now, the craft was more or less an oval egg-shaped craft. It wasn't saucer-shaped.
That particular craft, there were some problems with #1, getting it on the flatbed to take it up to Area 51.
The interior craft was, it didn't have any actual levers or flight control systems that we would identify as a flight control system. But they eventually, I think, over some time, figured it out. And it was done all by hands. The creatures would put their hands on controls, and they'd have this headset on. And this headset would somehow control or help them control the aircraft.
Well, they did discuss the fact that there were bodies. Extraterrestrial bodies, yes.
The creatures were about 4 foot. Some of the creatures were mangled, were heavily injured, and their bodies were torn apart.
There were 4 aliens aboard that thing, and those aliens went to Los Alamos.
And we were told that the extraterrestrial went to Kirtland Field, Kirtland Air Force Base, and then on to Los Alamos.
2 pathologists said there wasn't anything in the anatomy books, there wasn't anything in what our medical schools. They had never seen anything like this.
First I thought it was a child, because it was small. Then I looked at this head and all, The head was different, the arms were spindly, the body was gray.
But the creatures were approximately 4 foot. They didn't appear to have any ears.
They only had 2 orifices. They didn't have earlobes. They had 2 ear canals.
They had an indentation for the nose, very, very big eyes.
The large eyes.
The fingers had no thumbs, just four fingers. Suction devices on their tips of their fingers.
You know, the 4 fragile fingers and the long arm, real short joint.
Almost looked like they were nude, but they actually had a very thin but tight-fitting suit on.
One was alive, partially alive at the time that this happened.
It died in I believe it was 1952. But the bodies of the extraterrestrials that were found at the scene were in a deep freeze, placed in a deep freeze, and sent to Wright Pat Field in Dayton, Ohio.
One of the